Greetings and welcome to your destination. You've reached the Psychological Wellness Hub. We aim to help you build your knowledge and wellness around better understanding mental health and psychological concepts. Welcome back to the channel. Today's topic is a part 2 video in a series on personality disorders. In this video, we'll explore more about your role of understanding your protection system in a personality disorder. The hope here is that we'll help you learn more about working on your personality disorder. If working with a therapist, remember, or watch the video on this channel, we're here to help you help yourself. This is another way to tap into that. See more on psychological wellness skills to build on this further. To learn more about specific personality disorders, please look at the description below for links or select in the channel library or playlist for a specific personality disorder to watch more about. What is personality? For more in-depth knowledge on this, please watch those videos on the channel. Personality Intro Part 1 and Personality Expanded Part 2. See these in the description below for the playlist. What is a personality disorder? For more information and knowledge on this, please watch those videos on the channel, Personality Disorder. See in the description below for the playlist. What is a personality disorder protection system? Each of our personalities have functions in it to operate that serve to protect us. When we rely too much on this self-protection system, we can have a problematic personality functioning or what's known as a personality disorder. Each of us have different components of our personality that helps us adapt and respond to life, as some of this was discussed in earlier or different videos. Some specific parts of our defense system include, but are not limited to, our identity, psychological defenses, reality versus fantasy perception, our ego function, not to be confused with our pride, anxiety survival or instincts, our emotional weather, our sense of accountability, our sense of right versus wrong, which is our conscience, which is embedded in our superego. Our impulses and desires, which is located in what's known as our id. Our ability to conceptualize or fully see as well as understand ourselves versus others in a fair and objective manner. Part of our identity and internal representations, and many more. Identity functions. What makes you and others understand your uniqueness when you tell others or yourself that this is the way I've always been? Understanding your roles in life, your likes, your dislikes, and your ability to conceptualize or fully see as well as understand ourselves versus others in a fair and objective manner. This is part of our identity and internal representations of ourselves and of others. Identity protection. Some people, when they're threatened, have small to large splits or fragmentations to their identity to help them cope when they feel in this way. It's your identity's way of trying to avoid losing it, as we say. This could be a small experience, something like briefly not remembering what you were doing because of the threat catching your attention, to an all-out loss of ability to function. When saying inability to function, we don't mean you can't live life. It's just more difficult. It's like a circuit breaker in an electrical outlet. This trips to help us operate on minimal current reserves. This can make you feel like you're drifty, dazed and confused, out of it, relying on others to get your bearing almost after feeling like you're lost, just not existing, or just existing, not living. When our identity is improved or more intact after these fragmentations, we can feel more secure and less of a need to always be in protective mode. Psychological defenses. We all use psychological defenses. We can all deflect and avoid when we are uncomfortable. We can do things both consciously and unconsciously or outside our immediate awareness. We do things like put up psychological walls to protect ourselves emotionally. We keep others at a distance. We jump to conclusions. We overanalyze to avoid trouble to the point we get consumed by it. We rationalize and justify or excuse our actions. We deny the existence of reality. We ruminate. We obsess. We can also use the what-ifs constantly. We can be overly compliant to meet the needs of others. We can focus on others to avoid focusing on ourselves. We can caretake with others till it hurts, or put what belongs to us onto someone else, or what we know as projection. When we have a personality disorder, we come to rely constantly on the desire to protect ourselves. We overuse these defenses and we end up in a vicious cycle of pain. When you use less defenses overall, you confront things more. And we improve by feeling more secure and less of a need to always be in self-protective mode. Reality versus fantasy protection. Think about when we were children. You ever go to another room when your parents were fighting and imagine another life, being another child, having fantasy parents who didn't fight? As an adult, have you ever done the same, like after a fight with a boss, a spouse, or a sibling? Have you ever gone to the other side when you became hyper rational, fixating on the reality to the point where you avoid the emotions? An over reliance on this can perpetuate the cycle of pain in a personality disorder. Going to the extreme on the other side or getting lost in fantasy and magical thinking can also keep a personality disorder going. When we find balance between using reality and fantasy, this is flexible and we feel more secure and less need to always be in protective mode. Anxiety, survival instinct. This is our fight, flight, freeze system in our nervous system, and anxiety alerts us to danger. The problem is that we can sometimes manufacture threats, which is common in all of us, but when we have a personality disorder, we can carry that baggage from the past into many new situations and interactions with people in our life. For example, if we walk into a room and some people we know or strangers whom are talking all of a sudden stop as they notice you walk in, we can have very many reactions from this. Anything from just noticing it without any reaction at all to thinking that they're talking about you, to a more intense reaction where you end up verbally attacking them, going on a tirade, not making a connection to the past experience that maybe was similar to walking in a room where people are maybe actually making fun of you or talking about you in a not honorable way. Emotional weather protection system. Our temperament, our patience, our impulse control interact with our emotions. When these are pushed beyond their capacities, our personality patterns come to the surface quickly. When we have a personality disorder, they come even faster to the surface. They come out like a secret service in our minds, surrounding us to protect us. It's all hands on deck and all weapons on full alert. Your sense of accountability, your right versus wrong protection system. We all have something called a superego. Said differently, we have a system we often refer to as our guiding principles or our moral compass. We use this to judge and decide what the best course of action. When we overly judge ourselves, when we have a personality disorder, we often become hypercritical of others as a way to defend against the pain of our own self-judgment. Our impulses and desires is part of our protection system. Deep down, our subconscious and unconscious levels, we have impulses and desires. Sometimes we can see the tip of the iceberg of these. When it's submerged, it is often involving a deeper core feeling, experience, or baggage. We may compensate through our impulses and desires to protect ourselves from ourselves, others, or situations. For example, in smaller ways, we may make a condescending or sarcastic statement directing the aggression towards ourselves or someone else. In a more medium level, we may avoid our internal pain by directing our attentions elsewhere. This can be like over or under eating impulse or ways to cope, drug and alcohol misuse, gambling, focusing on others to avoid looking at ourselves, sexual promiscuity, meaning basically just having a lot of random sex, self-harming behaviors, impulsive buying, hoarding, excessive caretaking, and more. On a more intense level, we can go over our capacities and act out our impulses, which can turn into things like becoming verbally abusive or physically violent. We can engage in these compensating behaviors to cope. However, the coping becomes maladaptive. In other words, it doesn't work for us anymore, and it only serves to promote your personality disorder further, to stick around longer and support a fixed pattern of behaving and relating to yourself and others in a well-meaning but misguided way to protect yourself. What to do about the problematic personality system in your personality disorder? As a final reminder, if we work on the above protection system, one has the opportunity to improve. That is, when the protection system are less desperately needed, we feel more intact, secure, and less need to always be in protective mode. Then this becomes one of the ways or paths to combat your personality disorder. For example, when a person becomes more secure in harnessing their impulses, like drug abuse, for example, then they're able to figure out more about their situation rather than cover it up by acting out on these impulses. This can lead a human being to operating more in the present than in an intoxicated fantasy. They can learn more about who they are and how others differ rather than overly judging themselves or others in a villainizing way, leading back to drug use. A person can alternate ways to regulate their anxiety that are less destructive than drug abuse, which reduces their survival instinct to be in less of a protective mode. There is often a lie that happens when using the drugs, that we feel better temporarily and more secure, but the lie only takes us back to using. When we confront this, we are using defenses less and in a healthier manner, as well as working more on meeting our goals, which by default makes you less judgmental in a harsh and negative way about yourself or others over time. This helps you move more towards recovery by working to reduce the impact of your personality disorder. We'll talk more about this in other videos. In the short term, watch this video again and apply what you learned to your situation. Find ways to identify it. Then watch videos on this topic. Finally, go to the section on psychological wellness skills to learn more about working through difficulties. We hope you found today's topic was useful for yourself and someone else. Let us know if it was by commenting below. Let us know what you'd like to hear about and topics that could be useful to you by commenting below, and we'll take it under consideration. If you like what you heard today and would like to hear more from Destination Psychological Wellness Hub, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel by selecting the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen and clicking the thumbs up. This will help you get the newest content produced by the channel to you. Please tell all your friends and family about this channel or share this and other videos with them on this channel. Encourage them too to like and subscribe. And as always, we hope your psychological wellness continues to grow with us in this community. Thank you.